Annie was cooking pea rice, but her mother-in-law stopped her because only men were allowed to eat peas here. Women could only eat the leftovers after the men finished, even though it was just leftover rice. Annie was still happy her husband Jack bought a tricycle for their daughter. During dinner, Jack noticed there were no peas in Annie's bowl. He scooped some peas from his own bowl for Annie and their daughter. This was the only thing Jack could do for Annie. After dinner, grandmother called Annie to the altar, hoping Annie could inherit the role of a haenyeo. Haenyeo is a profession in their community. As haenyeo, they need to dive deep into the sea to gather shellfish. It is a very dangerous occupation. Looking at the diving gear laid out before her, Annie couldn't help but overturn the table, because grandmother didn't want Annie to become a haenyeo. She wanted Annie's daughter to inherit the role instead. This undoubtedly crossed Annie's bottom line. She would never allow her daughter to become a haenyeo. Just as she tried to leave with her daughter, grandmother blocked their way. Annie stood helplessly at the door, enduring their insults. Jack returned home at that moment. Grandmother wanted Jack to drive Annie and their daughter out of the house, but unexpectedly he picked up his daughter, instead rented a place outside, telling Annie they could live by their own rules, and Annie wouldn't have to follow those strange customs anymore. Although life after moving out was better, the expenses became too much to bear. Jack left early and returned late every day, working desperately to earn money. Even though they lived frugally, they couldn't avoid their rice jar running empty. To keep their daughter from going hungry, Annie had no choice but to ask grandmother to borrow rice. Little did she know the hardest part of her life was yet to come.